I had many important jobs when I was 5 or 6 years old, like catching mice. I'd sit at the breakfast table, eating my cereal, reading my comic books. Every so often, I'd see a mouse dart across the kitchen floor, coming up from the basement or racing back towards the basement. So I would get the trap and I'd put the cheese on the little stand and I'd pull the arm back and being careful not to crush my fingers. And then I'd set the trap, and later that day or the next day, I would find the poor mouse with its neck crushed. Part of my job then was to dispose of the mouse, and I do remember that my cousins had a funeral for their dog once, and I often wondered if I should have a funeral for the mouse. I never did. Laundry, same thing, crushing my fingers because you had to put the wet laundry through the wringer, and I was always convinced that my fingers would be dragged into the rubbers of the wringer and they'd be crushed. But then that allowed me to walk around the basement by myself with my crushed fingers and my shoulders up and and do my perfect Richard III impression. Um, my grandmother had her own convictions. She was quite assured, being an immigrant, that Safeway employees and all other service people, they got up in the morning with the express purpose of ripping her off. So she checked every Safeway bill, never, in all the years, never found one mistake. But one of my jobs, especially in the summer, was when the guys came to deliver the coal for the furnace, they delivered them in big bags. And my job was to stand nearby on the sidewalk, bouncing my ball and being a little boy, which is what I was. But really, secretly, I was looking and counting the number of bags so that when she looked at the bill and the inventory, she could check with me, was that 50 bags or whatever the number was. Potatoes and onions were kept in the cellar in a room right next to where all the bird cages, the empty bird cages, because by that point in his life, my grandfather was down to one canary who was up in the living room with him. But the potatoes and onions were there, and I had to go get them along with the jams and jellies and so on. And I often wondered about these growths that were sticking out from the potatoes and onions, and did we eat them, and was there something special about them? Let's face it, there was a whole other world in the basement. Pickle. Everyone needs to feel they're part of something, a community, a family, a school. I loved my assignments.